Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. I have a message to deliver inspired by our cosmic brothers and sisters, and I intend to do that as efficiently and as effectively as I can. Before I get into that, I want to let you know that there are a few things that you can do if you wish to support the work that I'm doing here on the channel, and showing your support will mean more videos. You can leave a like on the video, you can comment on the video, you can share the video with a friend. My content, the nature of my content doesn't allow for YouTube to extend its reach very much. So a lot of the extra things that I encounter and get into for making this content comes from you guys. So thank you very much. And if you're watching this video, it's likely that you are a sensitive person like me, and that a lot of times during your life, that sensitivity has, created a situation where you retreat from society. You don't have as many friends as maybe you would like to. There are people in your life who know that you have that sensitivity and take advantage of it. So more sensitivity isn't necessarily always what we want to hear, but that's actually going to be what is in store for old souls as we go forward. And I want to affirm with you in this video that that sensitivity that you have is your greatest superpower. It is a gift that has been bestowed upon you from the highest levels. And you've woken up. You understand now what that sensitivity is and why it's important for humanity. What's being asked of you as you go forward is that you use that sensitivity wisely, productively, and in a respectful manner. As you continue forward, a lot of the work being done is being done on the DNA, and that's where the sensitivity is coming from. Our DNA is in a certain condition being asked to transform into another, and the process of getting from point A to point B is not an easy one. And but the goal for the light workers and the old souls who are increasing the sensitivity now is that they use that sensitivity to serve humanity, to serve their selves and their families, and to create a meld with the higher self. And as we continue on, the difference between the lower self and the higher self is going to be much more distinguished, and you're going to be able to, from the standpoint and the informed position that you're in, determine what one you engage with. Do you pick the lower self or the higher self? Do you choose prosperity, abundance, creativity, and discipline, manifestation? Or do you choose victimhood, lack, insecurity, unworthiness? All of those things generated from the lower self are much easier. But the way forward is to use your sensitivity to find the higher self and to cultivate a relationship and a camaraderie with the higher self that you can utilize in any situation that you want to in your life. And the flares coming in, the work being done on the DNA, the changing of the fractals, all of it is by design to get you closer to that aspect of you. And one of the ways that we can turn that sensitivity into prosperity is through aligned actions, higher self aligned actions that maybe your higher self would take here if they were in the same situation as you are. So I want to give you an example of aligned action. And, another thing that sensitivity lets you do is to think, act, and feel and perceive things differently than others around you who might not be an old soul. And, that sensitivity, it's coming from being an old soul. It's not something that you've been born with. It's not something that just showed up spontaneously while you're here. Sensitivity, especially emotionally, is a sign that you have been a channeler and a healer and a way shower all through space and time. And now is the time to be the epitome of those things. So aligned action, when, let's say, so I have a story, and the story took place, I want to say, in 2012. So I had already been awake in 2012 for about 3 years, and I was managing a warehouse at the time, and we, part of our employment process was hiring people that had, struggled to get employed in other places. So we had a lot of different characters and a lot of unique and interesting people that are still, meaningful and important to me today. So one day we had a bird that had created a nest in a drain above the building, like on the side of the warehouse. There was a little spout where water would come out from the roof, and a bird decided to make its nest there. And we heard the little birds chirping. It was right by our door. So one day when we came to work, no, actually this is when we were leaving work, we went outside and we had noticed that one of the chicks had fallen onto the road, and it didn't look good. It was in really bad shape, and it was nowhere near ready to leave its mother. So this happened at a very busy time of day, right between shifts. So we had people coming into work and we had people leaving, and everybody was responding to it differently. Some people were, saying, let's do some things with it. Let's bury it. Let's, do something to honor the life that it did live and the one that it missed out on. One of the employees was a woman named Tammy, and I'll never forget Tammy. She left the building, and what she did, without even hesitating, without even thinking, she picked that chick up, she put it in her hands, and she drove away. And everyone was in awe that she did that. She just picked up the bird, took it with her, and who knows what she was doing with it. So Tammy was a light worker. Tammy was an oddball like me, and maybe even you. So when she picked up the bird, people started ridiculing her as being weird. People looked at what she did and, they wanted to dissociate from it. I don't know why. So the next day, Tammy, actually, who worked at the company with her daughter as well, she didn't come to work, but her daughter did. So I went to the daughter and I asked about Tammy. Where's your mom? And she told me that she was taking care of the bird. And so, I said, does that mean that the bird lived? And she said, yes, the bird lived. But when we were all looking at the bird on the sidewalk, and it happened so fast, it didn't look anywhere near alive. It actually looked bloated, like it had been out in the sun for a little bit. But apparently the little chick lived, and it never would have had that opportunity if Tammy didn't follow her heart and take actions that were in alignment with her higher self and, the healer and the old soul that she was, that we know now. So as you go about your business out there, understand that sometimes an aligned action, an action taken by you, which would be mirrored by your higher self if the position was different. Sometimes those aligned actions aren't popular amongst the people that we spend time with. Sometimes those aligned actions are not popular in the culture, in the country, in the places that we live, but we do it anyway. Nobody's going to tell the light worker who they can and can't heal. Nobody's going to tell the light workers that they're defeated and that it's impossible, and that what we are attempting to restore is lost and too far gone. The restoration of the sanctity that is the planet Earth is on time and will not be stopped. How do I know that? Because I know that there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of light workers taking aligned actions every single day, inspired by the higher self, and doing that work regardless of what their friends and family and those who are still sleeping might think of them. So ask yourself this question very, very honestly. Are you one of those old souls? Are you one of those light workers who could not care less about the judgment cast towards them? Are you one of those light workers who doesn't mind the funny looks and, the whispers and the chatter behind your back? There's no time for it. There is only time for aligned action that brings us closer to that fifth dimensional state and the new earth thriving and coming into being in the way that we've been dreaming of all of this time. Channel that sensitivity into a meld with the higher self. And some of you are walking around knowing that you're healers and channelers, waiting for those things to be true about yourself. Why don't we decide that they're true right now? Why don't we act and behave every moment of every day as if we are the master incarnating in the physical body, because that is the truth about the situation. Separation is illusion. You're not here because you're dirty. And I hear that all the time. It drives me crazy. Do you know how many people tell me that I need to be saved? Do you know how many people tell me that I'm interacting with things that I shouldn't be? I will never be deterred from pursuing my curiosity, and neither should you. When others try to deter you from being a light worker and a healer and the ascended master that you came here to become and remember, the things that they're going to say to you are going to be so rooted in separation. Don't judge them for it either. Let them have their opinions. Let the Creator wake them up when it's time to. But keep yourself in alignment and act accordingly, regardless of what the illusion tries to throw at you. It has one job: keeping you separated from your Creator, keeping you in separation from your higher self, and keeping you in a state of amnesia, because once you remember who you are, the game is over. And I'll let you know that if the 8 billion people on this planet were to see even a single human being for who they really are spiritually, that they would be worshipped and renowned and, sung about, religions and buildings created from doctrine and scripts and scripture created around. But what's being asked is that we don't wait for humanity. What's being asked is that we take the initiative and act as the master, regardless of if we're perceived that way by the ones around us. Are you worthy to do that? Can you do that? Does the ego let you do it? Or does it tell you to get back into your place? There's no time for that. So channel your sensitivity into a meld with the higher self, and you can do that with aligned thought and action, and living authentically and not being deterred by the lower, confused separation components in this place. So I want to give you a few other things to deal with the solar flares, and that sensitivity is going to increase. The emotional body is going to be doing some funny things. We are, we're let going of an old version of us, and we're making space for a new version of us. And a lot of times the old version of us just kicks and screams the entire way. A lot of times when we're in a period of transition and we are, empowering ourselves and becoming a better aspect of ourselves, that old version of us comes calling, much more loudly. So I want to give you some things to do that I've been doing that can help you avoid falling back into old habits and patterns and cycles and things that we're working very hard to let go of and to create separation from. So I have been doing frequency baths, and people like when I share things about baths. Old souls and light workers love the bath time. I fill my bath water, and I always do the routine that we talked about a few videos ago. I declare the time and space sacred, and I give the bath, I give the water, I give the time a meaning. So something I've been doing is I have an app on my phone, and I've been playing the frequency 528. So I'll fill the water. I will, don't want anything with a cord, but I'll put my phone on the counter by the bathtub, and I'll play as loudly as I can the frequency 528. So I've also been using a lot of bath salts. Bath salts go a long way. Your body and your DNA know what to do with it. But the cells, they want the minerals that come from the salt. Something else that I've been doing is I've been putting shea butter in the bathtub as well, and that's been really effective. But the frequency 528 specifically is supposed to help the fragmented DNA or the fractured DNA, the broken DNA, reform into something new. And, you know, that was the plan all along. And there are some things that you can do to help with that process. So exercise. The body wants exercise, and something happens when you exercise with the intention of communicating with the higher self. The higher self finds you. Vibrationally, when you're in motion, there are openings and pathways in your system and in your field that just aren't there otherwise. So if we're looking to meld with the higher self, if we're looking to have the higher self on the surface and in the forefront as much as we can, exercising. I used to do walking meditations. I haven't in a while, but they're really effective. So what you do is you let yourself walk, give yourself 5 or 10 minutes. The brain waves simulate that you're in meditation. And what you should do at that point is you should start speaking to your cellular structure from the standpoint of the higher self. Even if you feel like you're pretending, even if you feel like you're role-playing, start to speak to your physical body from the standpoint of the higher self, meaning like this, you know, you're doing this great, but don't worry about this so much. I noticed that you're doing this differently. Good job. Keep it up. I noticed that this person isn't holding their weight in your reality. Address that. Speak to your physical body from the standpoint of the higher self. And when you're in a position consciously, in a state of reception, to hear the message the right way, you're going to notice that it becomes automatic. You're going to notice that you speak to yourself, and what your higher self sees is an opportunity to come through. And, you know, there's some established things that you want to talk to yourself about. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start noticing that the information coming through about you, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, all of those things are going to feel like it's coming from a higher perspective. But anyway, I had some other things that I wanted to share in this video, but I don't have the time right now. But I will be back very soon. Thank you very much.